Hey, folks.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, on GameDay.
We've started well. Yes.
We're back.
Fantastic. Go ahead.
You got the boys back here. You got Bogan, Joshy, and myself. Boys, how are we?
I got nothing.
Better turn my mic on.
Go
I'm going good. Brenna, yourself?
Good, mate. Good. King.
Mate, I'm sensational. As we can tell, very professional standard BJ and GameDay here.
We're flying.
Like the footy show. We'll win a Logie one day.
No, we're better than the footy show. It's when we decide to get in the fucking diversity hires that we'll be in shit.
But, mate, Supercoach, we're back, apparently. Obviously still waiting to see all the isolation, all the coronavirus. Everyone's sort of getting over it. But they've given us a date, the 28th of May. Supercoach has had a few changes. And as of yesterday, 12th of May, we've got 5 trades. The super trade round has been moved forward. Brent, mate, as I say, I sort of haven't paid too much attention to what's changed. I've been pretty much flat out. But you've run through all of it, mate. You know the ins and outs of what's changed?
Yeah, so Bogan and I did a quick one, I think it was last week or something like that, going through the article that they put out. So we ran through it. Basically, you're going to have 5 trades to start the season back off, which is pretty nice, and we think it's pretty convenient because you're coming into price changes after this week, basically, for any blokes playing their third game. So that's good. Obviously, no origin, no buys to worry about. So it opens it up a bit, changes a few things. Some of those guys that you might not have picked because you thought you might get on them after origin. It's all different now. So that's probably the essence of it. You'll have a shortened season, obviously, with your head-to-heads and all that. But hopefully we can see the season play out. Bud, you're not followed too much into it.
Mate, look, I've got to be honest. It feels like I've sort of lost a bit of touch with it. I was talking to one of the boys at work today, and he's sort of the same. Like, it's been a little bit hard. They've sort of taken everything off us. We haven't been able to watch a single sport. I don't know. It just feels like it's the spirit of it's been robbed a little bit. We sort of started. We had a big off season. We did for BJ and GameDay. We got into it, started well, and then it all sort of came crashing down. So hopefully, even still, I guess it's the fact that it's still so uncertain what's going to go ahead. We've seen the one referee's just been announced in the last sort of hour or so that it's going to go ahead with just the one referee. There may be ramifications around that. Speaking to a couple of guys today, and the whole referees board are basically not in support of that because some guys are going to lose their jobs. So I don't know, mate. I'd love to get back in it. I'm just not feeling it quite just yet. So hopefully that'll change in the next week or so once we get a little bit closer to kickoff and maybe teams are announced and a little bit more certain.
Yeah, no, understandable. I had no team lists. It did, I must admit, in the sort of last week or so, I've started looking again, just like you said, get your head back in it, because I sort of switched off from it all as well, because there was no point looking at it. But I think it's a bit hard. There's no draw yet. They still haven't released this revised draw. Don't know who's playing who or what's going on there. Next week might be a bit easier once team lists come out. And like you said, the changes. I think the other big one is this 6 again rule. Did you read that one?
Nah, I saw it. I saw the one of the releases come out tonight, but I'm not too certain exactly what it meant.
So basically, they're going to go to the one ref, but along with that, if that ref sees anything in the ruck they don't like, instead of blowing a penalty, they can just say 6 again. Is basically what I'm getting from it. So instead of stopping the game with a penalty, they just go 6 more tackles. Something to that effect.
Okay. Well, I hadn't even processed that yet, but that sounds interesting. It actually, I guess it's going to create a bit more of a flow-on effect with the game. So I'm not too against that. I guess we're going to lose a few Supercoach points there. I guess guys won't lose any with penalties conceded. I'm not too sure how that'll affect Supercoach points.
Yeah, not sure, but I mean, like I said, it should help with the flow of the game. I just think those 2 changes are pretty big. Like, you'd even probably think that's pretty controversial, the fact they're allowed to blow penalties when it will be one ref as it is. So I can only imagine what sort of controversies this is going to cause, deep in games or when it's called and when it's not called. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
Mate, absolutely. Mate, Big Ted, this is me grandpa chair, mate. This is me couch I've got in the lounge room. This is a comfy one, mate. It's old and shitty. I've got a 2-seater out the back that my 2 dogs sleep on, the exact same chair. I guess it definitely the antique version, mate. But anyway, can't afford a new one. Don't get paid enough from the BJ and Game Day team.
Hey, Big Ted, how are you? Absolutely feeding us in the live chat at the moment.
Oh, mate, cracking. One comment. We're back, but we're back. The BJ and Game Day team, we're back. We need some comment. How many watches we got? 6, and we're 3 of them. But Hampton, what do you make of this vaccine stuff? I guess certain players refusing to vaccinate. Queensland's basically come out, that Palashek, whatever her name is, and has said, anyone who doesn't won't be welcome in the state, can't play. Thoughts, mate?
Oh, yeah, mate. I think, without getting into the people's beliefs or anything political or anything like that, I think each to their own. Totally for that. People make their own choices, do whatever they want. But I do sort of think it's a bit rich when you got some guys that are, earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to play footy, making a stance, sort of just say they're not doing this. And, no, I don't think any player's bigger than the game. So if you want to do it, go for it. But don't, come crying if you get the sack. I don't know how, what leg they have to stand on legally or anything like that. If some of them are saying it's religious beliefs and whatever. But I just think, if you don't like it, take your ball and go home. Personally, I just think you're a privileged position. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. I'm sure it's no different when they go and get a pain-killing injection at halftime. They're not too worried about copping that needle, are they? So, yeah. I don't know.
Well, look, I've got to say, I don't really see the sense behind it either way.
I think it's a dangerous precedent.
In what way, Bugs?
Well, and I don't want to fucking spark the anti-vaxxer debate. I think that's pretty solid science out there that vaccinations work. But when we're getting to the point where you are forced to get vaccinated or you lose your job, like where does personal freedoms fucking
yeah, and that's I guess that's definitely what I've felt as well.
Like, I don't think, especially when there's some blokes being stood down and there's other blokes who are being given an exemption because it's their religion. Like, who gives a fuck? It shouldn't matter what your religious status is. If you don't want to fucking get that vaccination, either you're not allowed to play or you are. What's the religious
stance?
I believe there's some parts of Christian sects, mainly the Polynesian sides. I think it's like the Mormons and things like that have certain beliefs where vaccines and certain aspects of modern medicine are against their religion.
Yeah, okay.
But where does it get to? Would you cop it if you went into work and your boss said you have to get this or you're sacked? Like,
I think that's where I'd look at it and I'd be pissed off. I mean, would I get it? Yeah. Would I have something to say about it and arc up? Probably. I don't want anyone saying, look, this is, you have to do this to have the right to work or anything like that. At the end of the day, I think these guys are, they're healthy, they're athletes.
I do agree with the points that Brent's made, but I am, as I said, I'm concerned about the precedent it sets. Like, when does it get to the point where they try and force this onto the wider community and then say, well, footballers have to get the needle or they get sacked, so you shouldn't have to worry about it, Brent. And you shouldn't have to worry about it, Josh, if you have to get it to be able to work. Like, I don't know. It starts to get a bit 1984, doesn't it?
I don't know. I wasn't born then.
I mean, I know Cardi was
you
more...
fucking you youngins. But it starts to get a bit Orwellian. Is that a term that's better with you there, Josh? But I think a lot of this Corona shit has shone a light, and I am willing to go political. Sorry, Brent. It's shone a light on how fragile our individual rights are and how easily they could be taken away. And sorry, guys, for bringing the mood down, but it's sort of something. It's sort of something that being on quarantine and having all these fucking restrictions on how I go about my daily life and my job has made me acutely aware of how little actual freedom that we have in our society. And I think that it's one of those things where, yes, the coronavirus is very serious. You look at what's going on in America and shit like that, but what's it worth? Is it worth saving society if it's not a free society?
I guess, yeah, you can look at it. It's like, all right, guys, you want to play football, take the shot.
Yeah.
So they should just take the shot. It's as simple as that. If you want to do what you're going to get paid for and earn your money, and they say that is what it is, as I say, look, they should have the chance to say, look, I don't want to, but if that's my only choice, then I'll just do it. I don't know.
As Brent said, I'm sure they're 100% acutely aware of what's in their vitamin injections. So, in this particular case, it is a bit of a cop-out excuse. But as I said, I think the wider implications of it being forced onto people it's a little bit concerning. But sorry to bring the tone down. Do you want me to make a joke?
No, all good.
Had a good comment. Cardi is also an anti-tackler as well, so that's going to bring it up a bit. That's a good.
I don't think I've ever seen someone in the second row be so bad at tackling as he. Who is the worst tackler? Everyone always goes on about how Trevor Gilmeister was the axe, and he'd cut guys in half with his tackling and things like that. Well, has there been anyone as bad as Cardi?
In a forward pack, I wouldn't know, but Alfie Langer was pretty shocking back in the day.
Well, that's what I mean, but Alfie was fucking 4 foot nothing.
Cardi's, They had to change the rules and allow you to trip people over so Alfie could tackle people.
I mean, Cardi doesn't even try to tackle, he just lets them go through, but yeah. Or Lockie Robertson, up Cronulla, yes, mate. The Sharkies, we'll be back. We're a chance. I was hoping they would scratch the season because we were 0-2, but they haven't done that.
Yeah.
So, Josh, you haven't looked at trades or nothing yet?
Mate, I do know. Look, I got 244K in the bank. I had a quick look at my team there today at maybe some ins and outs. I am one of those guys, like about 60% of other people, who's got David Fafita. Considering how, I guess, easy it will be to trade now and not have to worry about running out too early. I think I can probably get rid of him.
We'll wait 8 weeks' time before replaying that line back to Josh.
Yeah. But I reckon, mate, probably David Fafita, dropping him out. I don't know. I'm thinking it's hard to know who's going to come back in form. That's the other thing, because we've obviously had this isolation stuff. Who's been training? Who's obviously a lot of the guys who were injured have had extra time to heal and to get back on the park. But who's actually been training? Who's going to come back fit and healthy and play, I guess, the minutes we expect? You're going to have second rows who are 80-minute second rows playing 80, or are they going to play 65?
It seems like Nathan Cleary's been doing a bit of endurance work.
I can't believe he got 2 weeks for that. I cannot look.
Oh, can we? So there was a bit of talk about how little Nathan Cleary got compared to Addo-Carr and Latrell. And yeah. I think people are being a bit fucking harsh on poor Nathan there. Like, what's a bloke to do if you have five birds show up?
Who wouldn't?
Are you going to go,
sorry, he's sitting in his own house.
Sorry, ladies. Sorry, ladies.
And he has
social
five
distancing.
19-year-old blondes come round. I've seen that movie a couple of times, actually. Like, yeah. Fuck. But,
I think the issue was he tried to
look,
cover it up. It wasn't what I think in the end it was more he lied to I don't know if it was the NRL or the club, and that's why they come down.
That he didn't know that he was being filmed, and then the picture of him giving the thumbs up comes out.
Those TikTok videos, they'll destroy people.
And I think Gatto Carr's in more strife on Latrell because Latrell was technically on his own property.
Don't get me started.
Is that what it was?
I believe so. Yeah.
Don't get me.
When you say his own property, as in what he owned, or
yeah, it was his property.
Apparently, it was his property.
Yeah.
That's why Addo Carr, and they reckon Latrell should have got something similar to Cleary for that reason because it was the same sort of thing.
But bullshit. Well, don't get me started on Latrell because they're already fucking making excuses for him, and he's going to be shit this year. If you're on Latrell, get rid of him.
It looks like he'll be taking Jimmy Roberts' spot at centre from the looks of things. He's been admitted to rehab.
Actually, yeah, that's true. Actually, that just reminded me of something. And now that Teddy's commenting, Bogan, that comment just then, anyone who's got Latrell should get rid of him. Teddy, can you tell us who Taylor? What's her team name? Crazy Pineapples in our league. Who she's got in her team? Because he wants us to do a fix my team for Taylor because he's dirty at how bad her team is. So I know she's got Latrell. She'll probably see the replay of this. She probably won't watch live, but Teddy's into it big time, mate. So we've got to do a team fix for her. First of all, yeah, get rid of Latrell. Mate, Hampton, do you reckon at any stage this season, as short or as long as it is, you'll need to own Latrell?
It's hard to say. He's definitely not going to be relevant anytime he's worth 600k. You know, if he hits closer to that 500, maybe to 450 mark, possibly, but is he as good at centre at South as he was at centre at the Chooks? I don't think so, and he's not goal kicking either. So it'll be hard, and I think if you are going to buy him, he's going to have to be going pretty cheap. And if that's the case, he's probably not in form. So, I mean, I can't see it unless he has some miraculous, comeback at fullback, or he comes back really fit and just blows everyone off the park, to start the season again. But yeah, possibly it could be a bit of a washout for him this year.
I'll back off him, guys. He'll get sad. Back off him. Fucking.
What are you
already making fucking excuses for him, and he wants to be a fucking inspirational hero. What he should do is get on the field and score fucking tries. That's what he should do. Too much. Too much time.
This whole stream can be us introducing Bogan's rant.
Don't get because.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
I shared my opinions of that NRL season opening ad, and Josh wasn't particularly keen for me to voice my opinions on that on the show.
I'm happy for you to voice all your opinions, Bogan.
Then all this shit happens, and what do? They trot out fucking Adam Reynolds to go, don't be too hard on Latrell. He's having a tough time with it. That poor fucker getting paid millions of dollars to never live up to his fucking potential. That poor guy.
Hey, we've got this hashtag Bring Back the Bears. Should we get another little emblem up there that says explicit content, or I'm not too sure. Do we have to go out to our fans to say kids don't watch?
We already we're not a show for children.
We're an adult show, aren't we?
We have that box ticked on YouTube, so do not.
Does that just mean we don't show up on the kids' YouTube app, or?
Yeah.
Basically.
There's some pretty heavy laws in America regarding targeting content towards children, particularly when it comes to the people that advertise. So you have to tick it. So essentially, you don't get put in with the Peppa Pig live streams and stuff like that. Yeah.
Fair enough. But what else is there, Supercoach Hampton? Have you looked at trades?
I have, but it's a bit hard without these team lists. I think Knight's got to go though. Fucking Knight. I think you won that one.
What?
Oh,
say it again for me.
Well, no, only because of this Corona thing. I don't think he'll come back fit. I would have kept him otherwise.
We now know who the Daily M winner's going to be this year.
No, look, he's got to go. His minutes didn't increase enough, so he's out, and he's probably going to come back rubbish. Well, as soon as I trade him out, he's back. But yeah, I think Fafita's got to go. If you're talking, if he's out 2 to 4 weeks, you've only got 18 weeks left. That's a quarter of the season, and no Origin to worry about. You probably got guys like Fledgler and Carrigan that are going to probably be worth nearly as much as him in a few weeks, possibly as well. So I reckon he's an easy trade out. I think it's like I said, good timing. I had a few issues with my team. Pretty happy to get these 5 trades right about now, but guys like Bradman Best could come in the picture now. Maybe you do wait a couple of weeks on him, see how he goes, or if he finds a spot. But McInnes now will be back. Guys like Matt Lodge, plenty of things happening around the place now.
I tell you what, both my draft teams with 6 injured blokes in them each. I'm glad I went that way because they're all going to come back. It's beautiful. I'll still lose, but it worked a treat.
Yeah, so I reckon. Might be a few interesting ones like that Katoa from the Warriors or whatever his name is, Elise Katoa or whatever. I think you're just hoping all the guys that were sort of in form are still in form because, what this sort of break might do to the cohesions of sides, guys like Stags and, Yao, what's his name, Yao, however you say it.
Yao.
Are they going to be, firing straight away again? But I think most people are going to start with them anyway, regardless.
Do you guys think that there's going to be any players that are going to benefit from the shortened season and the lack of buys and the lack of Origin? Do you reckon there's just going to be some guys that thrive in it?
Probably Andrew Fafita, guys like that. As silly as it sounds, and he's becoming less and less Supercoach effective with what he does, but I think with the extra time a player like that's had off, but that's what you look at is basically the guys who are more injury prone. Instead of having to play a 25-week season, it's a 20-week season, or effectively 18 since it's been 10 weeks since the first 2 rounds. So, I got to think guys like that. Again, you probably can't have him yet, but as Brent talked about with Latrell, if the money drops enough for these guys, you can get them at affordable prices like, 400, 450K. There's always that opportunity there that they hit form again.
And that being said, the Origin's being played post-season. Do you think that you might see some players aiming to peak their season closer to the end to try and get that Origin spot?
Oh, that's an interesting one I hadn't really thought about because it's probably something I have commented on in the past, how it always seemed like players like JT, Dane Gagai, guys like that really sort of stepped up around Origin time and they carried that through their sort of regular season for their team. So, I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, you could definitely see that effect.
Yeah, I think it'll be. We possibly could be in for a really good season, depending on if the season gets played out. All they've got in their mind is hopefully win that comp at the end. There's no breaks throughout the season, no buys. Probably going to take a bit of a toll. Those 4 or 5 week injuries probably mean a bit more now that it's a shortened season as well. So you're probably not going to be sitting on guys like that now because you don't have to worry about trying to juggle them post buys and post Origin, this and that. What it does do is, a lot of people were getting on guys like Taumalolo and Fisher Harris and that because they didn't play Origin, but every player has that factor to them now. So I think someone like Tedesco's got I've got a much different perspective on him now.
Yep.
same with Pappenhausen. Like, I don't think he's going to be the player I wanted him to be now that guys like Teddy and Turbo won't be playing Origin. So it makes all that sort of stuff a different dynamic and pretty interesting as well, I reckon.
Mate, creating that cash to get those guys at the back, yeah. So, and I guess you look Cookies in the same mould. Obviously, with a lot of people who've got Appy Coruscant, and he started the season on fire. Cookie not so much, but yeah, he's proven to be how good he is. Obviously, Cam Smith had stopped Origin, but yeah, you sort of got to look at those guys now. The fact that they're going to play the whole way through, not be affected by bias, not be affected by Origin, you want to get these guys in as soon as possible. So, do you look at the upside of guys like that at 700k compared to blokes like Cleary and Moses who are sort of 600, 650, and do you go the fullback route instead? So, it'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, maybe some of those younger playmakers would have a little bit more to play for if they were trying to get in a sky blue jersey. Someone like Moses, it'll be interesting to see if he can be consistent for the year with, obviously every player wants to win a competition, but, there's probably some guys like that would have been thriving off trying to get themselves a jersey. So Teddy's in the comments there. Guys like, Gerbo and guys like that will probably be, guys you can think about trying to get in now because they're pretty set and forgetty, I reckon. But, yeah, plenty of options still, plenty of guys you can still pick regardless. So,
well, Teddy's comment there, Harry Grant. Obviously, the switch happened, Momorowski with Harry Grant. A few stories come out this week about Michael Maguire. Madge really, really keen on him. He's training well. So, my thoughts there. Is he a guy we maybe look at moving a Blake Brayley to or Billy Walters to?
I'm not sure. I reckon if you got Appy, Brayley or, Cook, Appy or whatever, you can't really find a spot for him unless, you're not happy with... I think now, like you said, I think Cookie's just got to keep him now if you started with him, especially now no Origin. But, Walters has probably got only a couple of weeks left in him now. I can't see him, starting in the halves when they've got Brooks and Benji. Reynolds is still there. It might be hard for him to find a spot potentially, or if he does, he might be playing 20 minutes. Grant, I don't know. If he plays 80 minutes, he's probably very relevant, and maybe you do go a Brayley to him if you've got a Brayley in a couple of weeks. I don't see Brayley, scoring huge. He might be that 30 to 40 cow that earns you a bit of cash, but if Grant's pumping out 50s and 60s, it might just be that trade you have to make. You cash a couple 100k and wait to upgrade Grant because he's got that higher ceiling. I don't know. But yeah, unfortunately, Walters, I think you're going to have some plans for getting off Walters if you got him.
I definitely thought Brayley would be more effective. I think he's you're probably right there. 40 probably maxes him out. He's not the tackler machine that I guess we see in a lot of hookers these days. And attack-wise, I guess it's still uncertain how he's effective at Cronulla. So I think you're probably going to get 25 to 30 tackles out of him a game and 10 points worth of hit-ups if he can pinch a try here or there. But it's hard to know. There's a lot of talk about Grant, how this guy's really, really good. And coming out of the Melbourne Storm system, the fact that they've only loaned him out, that they want him back, obviously, when Cam Smith retires at the end of this year, or if he ever retires, he's probably, it's baptism of fire, really. Chuck him in first grade and see how he goes at West Tigers.
How do you guys feel about Rapana returning to the Raiders? Is he worth looking at all? Take that as a massive no there from Josh.
Mate, Hampton's probably more qualified to talk about Rapana. He's had him for, at different times in different seasons, back to all the way to the Lapana days. I never really sort of jumped on the wagon too much. I can definitely see the upside there, but with his form over the last year, I couldn't have him.
Yeah, I don't know if he even is walk-up starter.
You'd think he wouldn't be.
Well, I don't know.
Not having any trial form or anything like that, and not getting any runs in Union.
he can be grateful he's got a place to play at, to be fair, I reckon, given that he left to go play in Japan or wherever, and that didn't work out for obvious reasons. I know they played Simonson off the bench at times last year, so maybe Simonson finds himself there, but I think Rapana's past his best. He might have the odd game here or there where he's good, but I don't know if it was a depth signing or they've done a favour for Rapana just to sort of bring him along, given what happened. I'm not sold that he's a walk-up starter in the side. I think Simonson's awesome. That said, Klokstad seems to get injured every now and then, or maybe they do just chuck Simonson on the bench because he's a bigger body and can fill a few spots, and they give Rapana his right wing back. 400k, I reckon you're probably going to wait a couple of weeks, see how he goes, whether he actually gets to start. They have a new combo with, I can only imagine it'll be Curtis Scott, and go from there. I don't think you have to start with him urgently, unless you're looking for a pod and going crazy.
Timmy Smith on the chat, mate. He's asked, get Stags. Teddy's replied, yes, 100%. I'm probably of the same opinion. If the fact is that he's had 2 big scores, he's going to have some price rises, and the kid's probably shown over the past sort of season and a half that he's definitely developing pretty well. And there's no one really there to take his spot in the centres. So, job security is safe as anything, and performance-wise, you can't really argue with what he's done. He's looked good.
I reckon he looks awesome. I think if they were going to pick a Blues side, this year he was looking pretty good for one of those spots with what's going on with the Trell and Roberts. I think he's one-on-one. It's like no one can. He's showing that little shimmy. He's a handful.
Oh, look, and I think similar thing I pointed out probably a couple of years ago. I remember when Ewan Aitken was sort of in form, and despite his size, the strength that he had. Now, obviously, he got found out eventually, and he sort of lost his form. But Stags has shown that same thing, that upper body strength that he's got for a smaller centre 3/4. He's strong as. So I wouldn't hesitate in bringing him in. If you had someone that you wanted to drop, maybe out of form like a Braden Burns, or if you did have someone like Latrell, or if you could upgrade someone cheaper there that you wanted to get rid of, absolutely bring him in.
Yeah, I think he's going to be, most people's 1 of 5 trades for this first round back. If you're not, you want to already have him.
I think the only thing where you wouldn't, and I guess I use my team as an example here, I've sort of set up already in that centre wings. I've got spare cash, and I could probably upgrade, a cheapie to him. But I think what we've talked about with the urgency of getting someone like Teddy and Turbo in, I've got to find a way to get them in, because with no origin, I think they're probably a little bit more vital. Obviously, the centre wingers, you don't get as consistent scoring. So, yeah. Who's your top 7 centre wingers? Come the season's ends, let's say 10 weeks from now, and you want to be set up. We don't have to worry about origin. Who have you got?
Oh, you're starting for. I mean, it's hard to say at this stage. You got to have Stags in there, don't you? Assuming he doesn't get injured or anything like that. Assuming none of that. Yeah, I mean, I thought Ramian might go all right, but he seems like he might be a bit hit and miss. He's really involved, but I can't see him unless they've figured that combo out in the COVID break.
That second game, I don't know. I can't remember who we played, but the amount of balls that hit the ground from Johnson, Ramian's could have scored 2 or 3,
The thing with it is he's still getting the ball in his hands a lot. Like, he's still 15 hit-ups a game, which is really involved. So if he can find a couple of attacking stats, it won't take much for him to get relevant if it's a line break or a try assist every now and then. And Katoa out on that edge outside of him is lightning. So it's hard to look past him still for me. It's a hard one that I'm thinking about, should I trade him or not? It's just hard to look past SJ and Nakora. I think Masters looked really good. Even though he hasn't
What's Teddy
set the
said
world on fire. Yeah, I'd agree with
I think
Teddy.
Teddy's got a point there. So Teddy's gone Stags, Yo, Masters, Nofo. I'd add Osako to that. And I'd probably throw in Sivo. I think Maker, he's just... We've seen what players like that can do. Semi, Vunivalu, Suliasi, when he was in form that 2 seasons ago, those guys, when they bring back the ball that hard, obviously Mamalo hasn't started off this season as well as he did last year, but again, if he hits form, the Warriors don't look anywhere near as effective this year, but we'll see what happens.
No, I agree with that. And Mansell looks like he could be back, possibly. He's been one
so you've
that...
probably got, a list of about 9 or 10 there that you think you could pick from?
There's plenty to pick from.
Yeah. I think there's no one who's stood out just yet, except maybe for Stags.
Yeah, had he been goal kicking, if Jack Bird was still had that full-back spot, Sarko might not even be in the team, which is pretty crazy. If he'd been goal kicking, he would be set and forget, I reckon.
What else have we got, mate?
Rule changes. You mentioned the referees being announced that they're going to one ref, and potential rule changes when it comes to the ruck, which was the reason they brought in the 2 refs in the first place. Do you reckon this year might be a good year for the NRL to actually test a few things out? Go fuck it. We've only got one ref. Let's get rid of scrums and see how that goes.
Nah. I think you've basically got to. If you're going to do that, it's got to be in a preseason game. I think any major that's a huge change. I know scrums mean fuck all these days, but I just use
that as an example. I don't think they're talking about that at all.
No. I mean, but just things like that. I think you've got enough of a preseason, and as much as this season's been disrupted or shortened, I think you still need to come back full on and make the rest of what is this season as close to a normal one as possible. Yeah. I think you've got enough with 2 or 3 preseasons games. If you try something in an All-Stars, Rugby League Nines or whatever, there's plenty of opportunity in a preseason where you can do it. So I don't mind them doing sort of the one referee, but that's obviously for financial reasons they've stated.
So you don't want to have the bonus zone in the regular season? That being said, being the old fart that I am, I never really saw the improvement of having 2 refs in the first place. And I'm just questioning, what will the NRL do if the quality of the refereeing actually lifts with one ref? So you have a consistent one bloke running the game, consistent 10, things like that. That you sort of missed a bit when it went to 2 refs.
I sort of agree with you in the fact that when it went to 2 refs, I was probably the same. I didn't really see the effectiveness that the game got any better, or I think you can probably argue that the game got worse because you had 2 guys on the field with differing opinions seeing the same thing. I think what you find the advantage of obviously having 2 refs there is that they do see more. So it gives one ref the chance to obviously monitor one thing and the other, something else. So I think the consistency of the decisions is better with one ref, but I think, and when I say the consistency of the decisions, I mean sort of like whether a decision's right or wrong, but they miss more stuff when there's only one ref rather than having 2. So, yeah.
I don't know if I heard this correctly, but my understanding was there's possibly going to be a bit more involvement from whoever's in the bunker helping the ref.
So a bit of a pocket ref given a live run.
Yeah, so they're going to have him in the ear a bit more, telling them what's happening. So it's interesting. I think like the international games are always one ref. They're the ARL rules, and I think those games, when I watch them, they generally seem to be better. The problem with it is like there's so much more happening in the ruck of our game now, but I think there's so much subjectivity to it, and as you said, you get two guys out there with different interpretations, or different of not even half a second, and it makes a big difference. So I think we're never going to be happy. I think this idea of having the two refs as the touchies and then having the bunker in his ear, it's all fucked anyway. So whatever, as long as you get the footy back, we're always going to whinge and complain no matter what side you're on. One side of the ball, it doesn't get the right call, you're not going to be happy. Whatever, let's just get it on.
Yeah, mate, agreed. I just want to see the footy start back again. I think once, we've got to have something to talk about for the next 2 weeks of what's different and what's happening, and that once footy kicks off and we go back to one ref, we're just going to be worried about who's winning, who's beating who, and who's scoring all the Supercoach points. So,
well, that's why it's tough to do a show at the moment because we obviously don't have team lists or anything like that. We haven't seen any training form or anything from the players yet. So,
I think that 6 again rule is like almost a end of season rule trial thing. I think that one's like a fairly interesting change, and I don't know where that comes from. Like, my question was:
are they pissing off the captain's call? Because that's a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity to tell that to get fucked, because I hated that captain's call.
I mean, this stuff I don't understand where it's come from. Like, if we didn't have this break in the season, for up to around 10 or 8 or whatever it would have been, would we have had this happen? I don't think so.
It sounds like, from my understanding, that going to one ref is a cost-saving measure, which must make you feel like shit if you're a professional referee. But
well, seeing this is the cop out, and basically, we were speaking a little bit off air that I've heard, that it could actually danger the start of the season. I'm not sure that the refs have got a union or anything like that. But
I will trot out and be a ref if it gets the season started.
That'll work well, mate. You can wear your Bears jersey.
Penalty
Broncos. But look, I think there could be a danger behind it. We'll just have to wait and see what happens there in the next couple of days, because at the end of the day, these are guys' livelihoods. It's what puts food on them.
Well, we lost Josh. We lost Josh with the perfect puckered kiss fucking facial expression there.
That's all right. I guess, moving on from the refs and the decision, I wonder is this season always going to have, it's always going to have the asterisks because of what's happened.
Well, it depends. I think it's got potential.
But it's always going to be like this. We're not going to have a grand final where we have 80 to 100,000 people at it this year.
No
matter what. So we're probably playing, final series is going to be empty. Everything's going to be empty. It's going to be pretty bizarre. It's going to make it pretty interesting, I think, because taking home crowds out of things, and are we going to see the better football team as a result of that? There's always been a big advantage playing at home and big crowds and that sort of thing, and lifts players and that sort of thing. I think that's another interesting dynamic to it all as well.
Yes.
Looks like we've lost Joshy completely.
We have lost Joshy completely, but we're still live. So let's
still live. Teddy's still there.
there. It says we got 10 people watching, but I'm pretty sure it's just one. It's just Ted sitting there across the ditch. Just let me bring back his screen for you. As I said, I'm really keen for it to start. So as I said, I'm keen for the team list Tuesday episode when we actually can talk about who's playing, who's not. We can actually confirm, because I know that some people are going to go mad with their trades, and then you're just going to fucking change them on fucking Wednesday morning or Thursday morning before the season proper starts up. But I'd like to be optimistic about the season. I think the shortened season, it's something that the Players Association has asked for for a while. So here's their opportunity to show that the quality of the game will be better with a shortened season. I think the run into the finals is going to be more exciting with with it not being dead rubber games. There's still Origin jerseys on the line. Things like that. I think that it has the potential to be a fantastic season, especially when we're all gagging to fucking watch some footy. I don't know what's going to go on with the crowds and shit like that. It sort of takes away from a bit of the excitement. But I think that anticipation to just watch some fucking sport is there.
Yeah, I think I saw a thing. The German Bundesliga is starting back up this weekend as well. So good signs, hopefully.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I'm back. I had a client call through. Sorry, boys.
Oh, good, mate. You sell another one. Another one's off the lot.
Yeah, I had to go into BMW mode.
Sold the Aventador.
Sold the Aventador. Nah, they're a piece of shit.
So one sale to one L. Mitchell, by the sounds of things. He bought two.
Latrell. Mate,
He's bought two. He trashed the other one.
Mate,
took it bush bashing.
He drives a Tirana or something, probably. All right. Have we got anything else, boys? I don't know.
Oh, we were just talking. We were just talking about.
You guys do this better without me.
How do you feel about the season overall, Josh? Are you optimistic that it can be saved, or you think that?
Oh yeah. To me, it's not going to go down as an asterisk season or anything like that. I think when you get to the end of 20 rounds, the team that's most worthy is going to win the premiership. Is it shitty that it's shorter? Yeah, but we got to really deal with that. And if they were talking about having like maybe a 10 or a 12 round season where not everyone gets to play each other, it'd be a different story. But 20 rounds is still good enough to get the right team to win the premiership.
Well, and I was saying to Brent what I like about it is there'll be no dead rubbers going into the final series. So even if your team is not a chance of making the finals, you are still in to pick up an Origin jersey if you play well going into the end of the season. So incentive is there for all the teams to be hungry right until the end of the season.
Definitely. Hey Teddy, mate, the Supra, the BMW Z4, mate. It's not bad. It's not bad. Actually, we've got a good deal coming up, Teddy. We've done bulk order on the Z4s, so the same as the Supra.
You're going to give one away on the show,
cars, about 105 grand. About 105 grand. And brand new drive away, we've got them going at about 70 grand. So, mate, I'll get one shipped across to New Zealand for you.
There's a competition for you guys on BJ on GameDay. The best coloured in $104,000 check will win a BMW from Josh.
Motorline BMW. Anyone who needs a brand new car, come down and see me. I've got some things in the cheaper range if that's more affordable for you. We start from about 50 grand.
But you do financing, of course, I'm sure.
We do financing, yeah, we do financing. Absolutely. Absolutely. You get into a brand new BMW from $150 a week, mate. Yes.
I was saying, Joshy, I think it's going to be a bit of a bizarre year with no crowds. Grand final probably empty as well, that sort of stuff. So, possibly you take that element of...
You reckon it'll kick on that long?
Oh, mate, I can't see getting 50 to 100,000 people in a stadium anytime this year.
I was going to say, I think people will be scared off even. But if there's a second wave, which is predicted...
Well, I mean, if all we go through the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, all these restrictions being lifted, surely by the time we get to, let's say, August, September, there's still 4 to 6 weeks of the competition left, leading into finals. Do you reckon we can fill this? I reckon we can.
Would this be a good season to play the grand final in Queensland?
No, never.
No, never?
Never. I love living in Brisbane. I love living in Brisbane.
They're fucking crazy.
Fuck Queenslanders.
They're fucking crazy for rugby league up there. It's the only redeemable thing about Queenslanders is their love of rugby league.
Yeah, but Suncorp only holds 45,000 people.
But if
you look at the MCG where you get 100,000 for AFL, ANZ you get 85, 90,000 for rugby league. The atmosphere at Suncorp is awesome, but there's a big difference between having a full stadium of 45,000 and a full stadium of 100,000.
Yeah.
I don't know. Suncorp's good, and I've been there, and I've been to plenty of packed houses at Suncorp, but I don't know. I've been to plenty of grand finals as well with 90,000. It's better at ANZ.
Grand final 2020 at Bruce Stadium. What do you think, Breno?
Bring back the hill.
They'll bring back the hill, and we'll bulldoze some chairs out of the way, and we'll allow you to bring an esky in.
Sounds good.
There you go. We just solved the grand final for you.
I think we'll come back once team lists are out. We'll do another on team list. I think we've got about a week and a half till then.
Yeah, and if we come up with any ideas, or if you have any ideas, anyone watching the VOD or Teddy in the chat, if you've got any ideas we can do for individual shows.
Teddy's got plenty of ideas.
Maybe we'll have a Teddy special in between now and the season restart. We'll get him back on. He was fucking hilarious.
I want to see you and Teddy do a live special. Just you two.
The mass debate. I
want to see you guys go on.
We'll find a topic and we'll debate it.
That would be good.
We done?
We're done.
If we're done, guys. All right. So, definitely the Tuesday before the season kicks off, we'll be doing a team list Tuesday. Back to the regular format. We'll have the graphics and the shit, and you guys better come up with some crystal balls and stuff like that. How many unvaccinated players will catch the flu? Something like that. For the crystal ball.
We'll figure something out.
If you have any ideas for little, probably not live shows, but little shows that we can put in between now and then just to keep the content up, let us know. And we'll try and put something together.
Done.
You going to do your outro, fellas?
Don't we just switch to the outro?
Well, okay. We'll say goodbye then to everyone.
I know. Guys, follow all the social media pages. We'll go back on them now that the season's started again. Actually, Hampton, you put up a couple of things on the Facebook page, which was good. Twitter's still not working. Twitter will never work again.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I have a bit of back and forth.
I'm done, boys.
All right, we're done. So here's the outro.
Hey guys, Joshy here. Thanks very much for joining us for another episode of BJ on Game Day. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell on YouTube for all your notifications. If you do want to follow us on Facebook, you can find us there at BJ on Game Day, and on Twitter we're at BJ on Game Day as well. So guys, we'd really like your support with that. Follow us so we can know you guys are enjoying the content. Thanks very much.